Mike at night.
If you hear it's nighttime,
You hear it the right time. Our news and our business. Hey, we back in here today. We appreciate you guys for joining us. You know we got a late start today, but like we always say, if you hear it nighttime,
then you most definitely hear it the right time.
and we appreciate you guys for being here tonight.
No doubt.
Hey, check this out, man. We got some stuff to talk about tonight. You guys see the title of the show. I won't wait, let y'all get in here and chime in, and we're gonna get on into it and let y'all get to sleep tonight. How was your day today?
Excellent, man. How about yourself?
Had a few bumps, a few speed bumps.
Yeah, how was that bank account this morning?
Hey, it was lovely, and I pressed on the gas. I got over the speed bumps.
No doubt.
Don't even trip. You know what I'm
doubt,
saying?
my brother.
They try to, hey, this world try to give you lemons, but you just make lemonade, you know, with extra sugar.
Yes,
You
sir.
understand what I'm saying? Make it sweet. Hey, man, I appreciate you guys for joining us tonight. We have a very serious topic to broach this evening, and that is that of self-hate within our community, what that looks like, how we identify it, and how it affects us overall. I know a lot of us may or may not recognize that there is this issue or epidemic, if you will,
Right.
amongst African American blacks, but it is definitely something that we need to address within our community.
And to be honest with you, some of the reasons why we do the things that we do, we might not even realize it, like he said, but it's a direct correlation between self-hate in our community. So we're going to go over some of them things today, and also try to see some of the things that we can do to
mitigate those damages,
right, and these feelings
exactly
that we have toward each other. Because when we hate ourselves, then we hate each other, right?
And that's the bottom line. We can't necessarily love our brothers if we don't have that love,
support,
and protection coming from within us.
Right.
And that's another reason why we push the LSP. For all of you guys, by the way, that did order LSP garments, we got them in today, so we're gonna get those out to you. I know it's been a minute, but well, it hasn't been a minute. We have done our best to make sure that we get the orders, that we get them correct, and that we get them to you as promptly and quickly as possible. So we are doing that as we speak. Alexis, thank you for joining us today. This is something that I know that you'll definitely be interested in. We've had our conversations amongst us addressing these issues, but we kind of want to do it today as a family on the Mike at Night show. I know that we get in here and we talk about things, sometimes difficult issues that aren't popular and are somewhat taboo within our community. So
Absolutely.
we definitely want to get into that today. Now, as I'm getting some of our list together here, because we have a lot of people that always say to me, for whatever reason, their notifications aren't working. So I make sure that I get in here and try to get some of the regular viewers and regular listeners and participators and make sure that they're here and here at the nighttime, so that they will be here at the right time. But let me say this. When it does come to self-hate, there are many ways that ugly monster rears its head. And some of the ways that it rears its head, we're not necessarily, cognizant of. Sometimes it goes by unnoticed, and we've been doing it for so long that we don't even recognize it as a problem within our people. Would you agree?
I would totally agree with that. And there's a myriad of reasons why, and you almost have to go back to the beginning of why this self-hatred is inside of us the way it is. And we all know you got to rep that 1619. We know that goes back actually to the slave days and the days that we were first brought over to this country. Now, anytime you strip a man of his name, of his religion,
His
of his
dignity.
family, his dignity, and you don't give him the right to equal education, and you don't give him the rights that the rest of society has, then that's automatically going to breed self-hate. Now, you were saying to me earlier, you made a statement that you were talking to some black people, of all people, who said that they didn't care about what happened to the slaves because it didn't happen to them, right?
Correct.
But what them people don't realize
Is that the effects of what happened to them?
are still prevalent and
Yeah.
present here in
Yeah.
2021. And so once we recognize the root of why that happened, then we can start working on some solutions. It's not something that's within us. It's something that was that was made for us to, I guess, accept it.
Well, Joe Broussard, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Joe.
He's watching right now. Vanessa, appreciate you for joining us again. Yes, definitely. When I heard the person say that they didn't necessarily think about what happened to the slaves because it didn't happen to them and it happened to a time outside. What they were trying to qualify was because they had made a comment about some of the recent presidencies and how bad they were. And I countered that with saying that some of the presidencies of the original presidents were definitely racist.
They were.
Had owned slaves, and were definitely not for black people. So, and they said, well, that was way back then. It didn't have anything to do with us. But we are suffering the effects from that right now. I was listening to a woman the other day, and I'm going to put it in the comments and share it with you guys. But she was saying that when a people has been enslaved, that it can take anywhere around 17 generations to recover from the effects of that slavery. The black people in this country right now, we are a new people. Let me say this again to you guys. We are a new people.
As in, we're the only group that did not volunteer to come over here.
Right. We are a new people. We are a people that not only didn't volunteer to come over here, but we have forged our own history and culture within the confines of Northern America, and more particularly the United States of America. We are not found anywhere. We are rare. We are not found anywhere else on this planet with the attributes that we have as African descendants of slaves. We have created our own music in which we incorporated all other types of music. Sure. If you look at rap, if you look at hip hop, that is something that we created. The Furious Five and Melly Mel and all of these guys, and we took that music and we were able to infuse other musics into that music and still have it up under the same umbrella. We've been able to sample country, rock and roll.
Not only do we sample country and rock and roll, but let's be mindful that we invented that also.
Yes, we did.
We talk about blues music. I know that there's a lot of white or non-black blues musicians all across this country now. Well, guess what, man? That music was created through hurt. That music was created through pain. And that was just a way for them to display it, so to speak, through song and dance. So let's not get that twisted either, that we even created those genres of music as well.
We've created music as a form of entertainment in America. And if you guys want to go to the 1619 Project, they have a podcast on Spotify, and you can listen to the origins of American music and how black people were behind that. Matter of fact, the story or mythical story, and some people say it's actually fact, some call it myth, about Jim Crow and what he was doing when he was singing his songs and whatnot, and how a white man heard that and then did the blackface and everything, and that was basically how music as a form of entertainment began to come into our country. Right. But let's get back to the whole self-hate issue. and how it rears its ugly head with our community. I want to ask you guys a question. Why is it that it seems, now it just seems this way to me, so please tell me if I'm right about this or not. Why is it that it seems as though black women, African American women, should I say, have more of a problem with each other on an individual basis than black men do? It seems that black men are able to get along on an individual basis. Now, I'm going to give you the flip side. It seems as though on a social basis, black men don't get along.
Right.
They're quick to, pit one group against the other and engage in, self-hate and kill each other.
Right. If we went to a party or a barbecue or something like that and we weren't necessarily all related, maybe some of us were.
Right.
But it seemingly that situation always shows itself to be one where we're pitted against one another, be it through gang, neighborhood, or just some hearsay or some nonsense.
Right. So, and I just want to say this. It seems as though that is the case. I don't know if that is actually the case, but it seems as though that black men individually, like if you were to go with your girlfriend over to her girlfriend's house and her man was there, 9 times out of 10, those two black men are going to sit back. They're going to talk about, Nicole, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you watching. They're going to talk about, they're going to talk to each other. They might have a beer. They might watch the game. They're going to find common ground.
They want to talk about the football game. They want to talk about their rims. They want to talk about maybe their women. Mm-hmm. There's commonality to be found when there's an individual pack of black men as opposed to a group. Now, like you were saying, on the flip side of that, when we talk about two women getting together,
sometimes there's issues. I have been with women that are sitting up talking to each other on an individual basis, and the minute that woman leaves, she starts talking about, did you hear what she said about this and that? And she thinks that she's this and that. And
exactly.
And I'm like, wow,
And listen, and a lot of times you have to be cognizant that gossip a lot of the time is a form of self-hatred. Because a lot of the time you're not going off facts. You're going off hearsay. You're going off the opinions of others, sometimes uninformed opinions of others. So when you spread negativity, it tends to translate into violence and other situations where people are not coming together as blacks.
Okay, and Vanessa, she says that sometimes black women are pitted against each other.
Okay.
You're not so and so, you're not this and that, and it starts when women are young and being emotional creatures is what she is suggesting may be some of the reason as to why men or women don't get along with other women on a more individual basis.
Right. I just think that when it comes to women, I think that they're probably paying too much attention to what another woman has going on or doesn't have going on, instead of just stopping and looking and loving themselves. Because once you stop and love yourself and you have no desire to tear down other black people,
then it doesn't really matter.
Then it really does not matter at all.
Okay, and you can celebrate someone else's success,
Absolutely.
or even their growth,
Right.
And it's hard for me. Hey, Thomas, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you for coming back and being a strong supporter of the Mike and Mike at Night show and showing that love, support, and protect that we always like to show on this event that we do 2 nights a week. We appreciate you guys once again, but we need to make sure that we're consistent, so we come in here and try to give you guys something that we haven't just warmed up, thrown in the microwave, and fed to y'all. Right. Some things where we're trying to find statistics, trying to find facts, trying to find issues that actually occur within our community. And this is one that has been a very serious issue for a very long time. I believe that the whole gang banging disease has stemmed from self-hatred.
Absolutely.
And the only way that we can do that, we can get rid of that, is by loving ourselves.
Sure, love, supporting, and protecting each other.
And that's kind of why we are on the whole love, support, and protect, because as a garment, is going to remind you. And how many garments are there out there? How many things are there out there where when you wear it, you're reminded how you should feel about your brothers and your sisters.
Right.
And you put it on and you're like, you know what? This means that I'm going to love, that I'm going to support, and that I'm going to protect my brother and my
Right.
sister.
And it's not just a constant reminder to yourself, but it also could be a reminder to other people who maybe need to see or hear that message. Much in the way that, and one thing I've noticed about black people is that when we struggle, we tend to have each other's back because misery tends to love company, right? But once you achieve your goals, we tend to abandon each other. And that's a form of self-hate because that's saying that, oh, you're sad, you're broke, you're down. That's something that I can connect with because I'm sad, I'm broke, and I'm down. But as soon as I start setting goals and I start achieving my goals, you might start to notice that a bunch of your friends start to fall off. And the reason that they do that is because they themselves have a form of self-hatred. And if we can stop perpetuating that amongst each other, then we can have a much better chance of the love, support, and protect spreading among the community, much in the way that gangs do and everything else that's negative about our people. You know what? A funny little quick story real quick. So someone called me yesterday and said, hey, I need you to give me a jump or show me how to jump my car. I said, okay. So they said, well, where do these cables go? I said, well, the red one goes to the positive, and the black one goes to the negative.
Okay.
And they said, well, how do you always remember that? I said, because seemingly everything associated with negativity has to do with black, right? The color black.
Right.
Black Friday, Black Tuesday, Black Cat, right?
Well, Black Friday is actually a good day. You get a lot of deals. You get cheap. You get cheap merchandise.
Actually, you get
you get merchandise at a lower price. You get the hookup on Black Friday,
right? Which actually is not even really worth all that.
I got you. Yeah,
they're just making it seem like you get some sort of deal when actually you could have really got it at that price the whole time. But the whole point is like we sit up there and we overhype other people's accomplishments, but we don't overhype ours.
Okay.
We need to put it out there that the things that we're doing are important.
And that's kind of what I wanted to say, that, you know, the things that we have done in this country, and that's why I said we are new people, have not been done anywhere else.
Right.
What we have done and what we have accomplished here in America by starting our own culture, starting our own music, having several inventions. Let me just share this with you guys. Even the ability to separate the seed from the cotton. When we think about Eli Whitney and we think about the cotton gin, we think that, you know, this was a nice little cute device that would help, you know, slaves pick cotton. No, that's not what it was. What it was monumental. It was an invention that changed life as they knew it at that time, because cotton was such an important commodity and a piece that it took so long. They said for 1 hour it would take 9 hours to extract seeds from 1 pound of cotton. 9 hours. So now we see how much it costs, and we see the validity of this invention. Now check this out. The only problem that they had at the time was that they didn't have enough land, because it took a lot of land to grow this cotton. And they didn't have laborers to labor and to pull this cotton. So what did they do? They took land from the Native Americans so that they had room to grow it, and they took our people. Listen, that just if we got reparations off of the cotton gin alone, a black person wouldn't even have to work in this country anymore. No one black. If we just got the reparations on what Eli Whitney did with that cotton gin, black people would not have to work anymore. Let me get to Thomas's comment. He says, back in the day, both sexes are taught that they must compete for mates. Men are usually taught to express it through physical feats that exhibit our strength visually. Women were taught the same principles of competition, but it was usually through verbal jabs and fighting. Fisticuffs was considered unladylike and beneath them. Damon, thank you for joining the show. We appreciate having you here. And thank you for supporting doing the love, support, and protect with Mike and Knight. I agree with that, and I do see where we were as sexes, and sometimes we've even, like I said, it's done subconsciously to a certain extent, because we even have fell into that trap sometimes on the Mike and Knight show. Like black women do this, or black men do that, and kind of pitting ourselves even as adults against each other, and that is a version of that self-hate.
Absolutely.
Where we don't see that we're on the same team, the way that maybe even the Latins and the Asians and the whites see themselves on the same team, and for whatever reasons, us as brothers and sisters, black women and black men, don't see ourselves on the same team. We seem to be pitted against each other in competition and degradation.
Really, that was their plan from the get-go, and that's why they separated the house Negro from the field Negro, because they knew that together and unified that we could defeat them, right? But if they kept us separated, which continues until this day, and as long as they keep the division going, then we will never be able to control what they value so much, which is control over us.
Let me say this real quick before we move on to another point. If we look at what is common amongst black people, I believe from what I have seen and what I have researched and seen in social settings, that it seems like our common goal, whether we be poor or rich, is to show off. We love to show off.
We overhype our achievements and downplay others.
Exactly. We show off so much, and to the point that it does turn into sort of like a competition that we have with each other, instead of showing, when we find something, when we find a nice pair of shoes. Have you guys ever noticed this? Like, if somebody's wearing a nice pair of shoes or a nice hat, or they got something that you haven't seen before, a lot of us won't tell the other person where they got it from. Like, hey, where'd you get that from? Like, nah, I don't want you wearing what I got. I can't tell you where I got it, because then you gonna go get one just like it. Well, why not? That's your brother, that's your sister.
That could be
and they telling you, right, and they telling you that you look good, and they want to look good the way you look good. What's wrong with that? You see what I'm saying? I think sometimes we have issues with that within ourselves, because we fight within ourselves. If we feel secure in who we are and what we are about, and our motives are pure, then we can come to our brothers and sisters, and we can share with them, we can love them, we can support them and protect them, and we don't feel like we're giving up anything, but we're building up ourselves.
Absolutely. That was a very, very great point. So, like I was saying before, the division. Let's talk about division. The breaking down of a people. Okay, when and I always want to talk about this the other day, but we didn't have enough time. So I was noticing amongst the other races how they stick it out together. I noticed how some races of people, they might feel well comfortable in a 2-bedroom apartment and have 6, 7 people staying there, 2, 3 generations. Now that's not their forever situation.
Serena, Josh, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
That's just something, and like I said, the other races, they show togetherness within their community. Therefore, there's less hate, there's less murder. There's more of them owning their businesses. There's more of them supporting each other's businesses, and that's kind of what we need to take a cue from is what these other races are doing now. It's inherently in us, but we just don't practice it enough, because sometimes black people can be selfish. I don't want to share.
So that we are not too critical of black people on the Mike and Knight show, because we are here to love, support, and protect. Yeah. This is what I want you guys to do for us. If you're still in there and you're watching and you have joined in the conversation, tell us what it is about black people that you are particularly proud of that we have done.
And I'm sure
because there's a lot of
big
things.
list.
There is a big list. There's a lot of things that we talk about on this show. And what we talk about, when we talk about these things, we're not talking about these things to criticize us. We're talking about these things to encourage us and uplift us so that we can look at these things and we can work on them.
We can see what we're doing to one another.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can't see the trees for the bushes, right?
The forest for the trees.
The forest for the trees.
There you go.
So when you're able to see that, it's very easy to break everything down a lot better than how we've been doing it together as a
Educated
society.
black women used to marry blue-collar men and there was no stigma. Now there is a lot more social pressure to date or to marry up. Listen, let me say this to the women out there who feel like blue-collar men are beneath them. I know that it might catch some of you guys by surprise, but Miss Spears, and thank you very much for sharing this, because you are absolutely right. This is another epidemic, because there are a lot of women out here who feel like black or blue collar men, and it's not just in the black community, blue collar men are under or beneath them. Listen, a blue collar man is one of the most important features of this society that we live in.
You mean the work ethic of a blue collar man?
I'm not saying the work ethic. I'm saying the presence of a blue collar man is one of the most important aspects of us living in a first world country. Okay? Everybody can't work on computers. Somebody's going to have to build the building so that the computers can go inside of the buildings and somebody can work on them. Okay? Everybody can't do plumbing. Somebody's going to have to build the houses and put the plumbing inside of there so that we can use the rest. If we didn't have blue collar workers, you all, there was very little that we could do, and we would no longer live in a first world country. We live in a third world country without blue collar workers. Okay, so what someone decides to do as far as their profession goes has nothing to do with their character or who they are. I find that a lot of blue collar workers are sometimes more credible and more authentic and real, devoted and supportive than their white collar counterparts.
Right.
And I'm not saying that to say that there's something wrong with that. But, well, there is something wrong with that, but I'm not saying that to try to downplay the white collar worker, because they're important as well. However, that blue collar worker, without him, we can't have a lot of the pleasantries that we enjoy here in America.
And let's just keep it 100. There's far more blue collar gentlemen than there are white collar. So the chances of you actually landing one of these white collar gentlemen, while not impossible, there's not a very good chance. I was doing some research earlier today, and I find out that only about 10% of those men exist. So you probably have a 1 in 10 chance of actually landing that man. So instead of trying to look what he can do for you monetarily, let's look at what his heart is about. Let's look at how his mama raised him. Let's look about how he treats his children. And a lot of the times, like you said, when there's an absence of a lot of capital, it tends to build stronger people morally. Would you not agree with that?
I would agree with that. Let's get to these comments here, because we got some great ones. We asked the question, what is it that you appreciate and that you love about black people and our accomplishments in this country? So we're going to get on that real quick. Thomas Noble said just our overall resilience to come through our trials and tribulations as a race, our innovation. We set trends worldwide. And then Mr. Johnson goes on to say, I like that we are trendsetters and very creative. Let me say this again, and I'm not saying this to down our people. So please, if you just now joining in on the Mike and Mike at Night show, we're talking about self-hate, and I just wanted to throw this in there for free. This is a little commercial break. One thing that sometimes disturbs me is that we are always looking to Africa to prove who we are. This is who we are. This is what we are about. We have set the standard. We no longer need to look there. They need to look at us. They have a country that they can run, or they can do the things, different things. We have one country over there that has never been colonized, in Ethiopia. But what we are here is exactly what you guys said. We are resilient and we are trendsetters. Listen, the world needs to look to us because within 400 years, we didn't just take skips and steps. We took leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
We jumped over the racism and the treatment of slavery and the inequality of the 60s. We jumped over it. We leaped over it. Okay? Into where we are right now. And it seems like we've taken a nice little lunch break, but I'm telling the black folks out there that we need to get back on our job. Okay? It's like the 80s, the 70s, and the 80s and the 90s was a nice little,
Right.
lunch break, like a kickback. So we ain't got to worry about anything no more. No, we need to get back up on our job because we can take this nation in places that no other enslaved people. We've already done it, but our work isn't finished. We've already taken this nation in places that no other enslaved people have taken this nation. And the way that we are able to stand up to our captors, speak to our captors, demand respect, demand equality, and demand freedom, no other enslaved people were able to do that to their captors and still coexist with them. They would have been annihilated.
Absolutely.
And they tried that with us, and they're still trying it, and we're still here.
Right.
But we are our own biggest enemy. There's an old African proverb that says, when there is no enemy without, then the enemy within can do us no harm. Now, I just want to give you guys a quick story. Not really a story, but I just want to give you kind of an analogy. When we look at the Black Lives Matter movement. I don't knock the Black Lives Matter movement, so please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I do not knock, one more time, you guys, I do not knock the Black Lives Matter movement. However, when I do look at the Black Lives Matter movement, I see there is room for improvement. Because in all of this, when we're talking about the Elijah McClains, and we're talking about the Breonna Taylors, and we're talking about the George Floyds, and we're talking about all of these people, but we're not talking about these organizations that are set up by black people that are orchestrated and organized for the annihilation of the black man. When we talk about Crips and Bloods, and I'm not knocking y'all, but I am saying that we need to change what our focus is. I don't mind you being a Crip or a Blood or a Gangster Disciple or a Vice Lord or whatever it is you want to be, but this is the thing. We should not be killing each other. Okay? I don't mind if you guys join. Hell, they got colleges that do the exact same thing.
Right.
They put together fraternities and sororities that function almost just like gangs. But guess what? Their agenda is different.
Right.
Their agenda is to support their brothers and sisters within.
Seems like the Black Lives Matter movement, and also like him, I'm not knocking anything that they're about, but it just seems like that it matters more to other groups than it actually does to ourselves.
Because it addresses, I believe, a smaller issue. The analogy that I wanted to use is this, and maybe some of you have heard me use this analogy before, but this is the analogy I like to use. If in my home, my wife lives with me, and I invite my friends over, and I speak to my wife very disrespectfully and say things to her that are disrespectful, and so-and-so, go get us a beer and this and that. After a while of my friends being exposed to that, they're going to see that this is the way in which I treat my wife. Mm-hmm. So they're going to fall in line with that. Hey, tell her to get me a beer too, man. Whereas if you're loving your wife, showing her respect, they're going to fall in line with that as well.
Exactly.
They're going to say, if you don't mind, ma'am, I could go get it myself, but when you get his, do you mind bringing me one back as well?
Right.
And you might check them and be like, look, no, my wife ain't bringing you anything. You walk in there and get it yourself. So what I'm saying is this, is that when the people surrounding us in this country see how we treat each other, they just fall in line. And that's why I'm saying when we were slaves, they saw how we treated each other. We loved each other.
Yes.
We supported each other.
Mm-hmm.
We protected each other. And they said, hold on, man, we can't keep these people down that long because they love each other.
Right.
The civil rights movement. You didn't see Malcolm X throwing up his hood and Martin Luther King throwing up his hood and they bucking back at each other. No. He said, brother, I do it this way, you do it that way. I don't knock you. I love you. You continue your mission. I'll continue mine. I think I get it done this way. I think I get it done that way.
And there's more than one way to skin a cat. So although those brothers may have had opposing views, they still had one common goal.
The common and primary mantra of all black fraternities and sororities is serving and uplifting the community. Again, being a representative or a mouthpiece for black people within the community. And I appreciate that piece of that. Now, of course, there will be people out there that criticize these sororities and fraternities, and that's your own business. But all I talk about is what is happening to black people and how it affects blacks within our community.
Right.
And it's not because I dislike any other race, because I don't. I'm not racist. But at the same time, we are the people that deserve the most attention right now. We have different subcategories of Americans living inside of our country that have received recognition, monetary recognition and support from our government in way of all different type of subsidies and finance or federally funded organizing monies that have gone to Japanese, have gone to the Native Americans. They have received some form of an I'm sorry from America.
Right.
And for the people who were treated the worst, we have yet to get our apology, our formal apology. So until that happens, I could really care less who's in the White House and what they're doing, unless it has something to do with us and our people.
Right. And we need to be less concerned about how they're treating us. Just like you were saying, how do we treat us? We set the standard about how we want to be treated. And I know everybody's grandmama told them, treat others how you would like to be treated. Well, the same thing goes for us as a people. Until we do that, until we can get the negativity and hate out of our systems, they will continue to treat us like garbage like that. Because that's just the way that it was set up that way. So I can guarantee you that we will not be respected by others until we respect ourselves. And that's kind of the difference between the Black Lives Matter and the love, support, and protect. Everybody would know that the Black lives would automatically matter if we loved, supported, and protected each other, right?
Exactly. And that's the big point, and I thank you for pointing that out. Because the Black Lives Matter is kind of putting, in some way, in some sense, the horse before the cart.
Right. It's almost been gentrified and hijacked from the group of people who now, mind you, I'm thankful for everybody who's white or any other race who loves, supports, and protects us. Mind you, I give you a lot of props for that, because that takes a whole lot. It takes a whole lot for you to be man enough or woman enough to say, hey, look at your privilege and look at maybe ways that you have contributed to the downfall or the downfall of black people or the attempted downfall of black people, and just say, hey, what can I do to help this group of people who've been dehumanized, who's been marginalized, who've had racist things occur to them based on the color of their skin. So I thank y'all for standing with us. Honestly, I do. But it's going to take us to stand with us. When we look at what's going on in Chicago, when we look at what's going on in Detroit, where they have 800-900 murders per year.
We ain't even got to go that far. We look at Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, we could just look at Denver. I think we had 95 murders in 2020. 10 years ago, we had 29 murders. So when you talk about, we're talking about a 75-80% increase with black people killing each other just here in Denver alone.
And we ain't even strong in numbers here.
Yeah, we're not even strong in numbers. So for us to have 100 murders, and of them maybe 60, 70 of them black, and maybe of them 60, 70 black, maybe 50, 60 were committed by other black people. So until we start mattering to us, we won't matter to anybody else.
And that's the truth. You know, I'm not saying that we have to get rid of the organizations that we started, because obviously they're very influential and they mean something to us.
They do.
They are almost tribal in nature, and we came from a tribal land. But what we need to do is switch the agenda, because we are not, my brother is not my enemy. Okay, he's not my enemy. He's not something that he's not someone or something that I need to fight against. There is a system that has been put in place that I need to fight against. And the way that I fight against that system is by making sure that I don't fall a victim to that system. And the way I fall a victim to that system is making decisions that are counterproductive to my personal success as a black man within this country. If I know that selling dope and carrying unregistered weapons and things of this nature is going to get me locked up and it's going to get me time and it's going to keep me away from my family, my people, my loved ones, then I'm not going to do that. You know how you disarm the police? You know how you take some of the power of them away? Stop breaking the law.
Now,
educate yourself.
I know there are going to people are going to say, well, I seemingly get harassed even when I'm not breaking law. It's just a product of my skin tone. I don't have the complexion for the protection, so to speak. What would you say to those people?
Well, to people who say that they're getting harassed by the police and on a continued basis, then me myself, you know, there are. No, I don't think they're doing anything wrong, but I mean, there are some. We have to understand that this land does not belong to us. Okay. Yes, we have come here. Yes, we have come a long way, but we don't run this country. Right. So we are going to have to. We have learned how to deal with racism. Mm-hmm. At least we're not getting dogs turned on us. And I mean, yeah, some of us are dying like dogs in the street, but at the same time, we need to find a way to maneuver that systemic racism that we're faced with every day. Right. We have to find ways around that. And if we are as smart and as strong as we know that we are as a people, mm-hmm. then that should be easy for us to do.
Right.
You know, I know how to keep myself from being accosted by the police. Now, is there some chance that it may happen? Yes. Do I get nervous even though I don't have any warrants? I don't have any drugs on me, and my car's registered and insurance and all of that. And I know I have all that, but do I still get nervous when a cop car gets behind me? Well, of course, because they've created that climate.
Absolutely. I most definitely agree. One of the main points that I want to make here tonight is that we must matter to each other. And we have not mattered to ourselves for such a long time. I almost wish I was around in the 60s. And 50s. I know things were
just to experience.
Right. I know, just a fly on the wall at that time, so I could see how my people held each other down, how they loved each other. They helped each other pay their bills. When they did the Montgomery bus boycott back in the 50s, they didn't need that bus because the people with cars helped each other get to work. You know what I'm saying? They did all this stuff so that they would stay on code with one another. So, you know, where's the outrage when Elijah McClain and George Floyd? What happened to those people were terrible, and we're outraged as a community. But when Ray shoots John at the liquor store, where is that outrage? You know, they might do a little vigil or something. It might last an hour or two, and then it's just like we sweep all that away, and we're back doing the same thing the next day. It has to be an outrage to us when we do terrible things to us, and we need to be held accountable, and there needs to be consequences for us harming us.
And honestly, in that social scrutiny should probably serve as one of those consequences.
Sure.
But it should be more. It should be more to us, and mean more to us when we kill each other than when somebody else does. I expect more from my brother than I expect from a stranger or someone who doesn't know me.
Well said. Well said. When I have a white man who never seen me a day in his life and just wants to hide behind the premise of a badge, that does not mean he could do whatever he wants to me, say anything he wants to do to me, disrespect me in a multitude of ways, then you're absolutely correct. You don't even know me to be treating me like that. But my brother, I know you, and right. I love you, and I support you, and I protect you. So give me that same love back, and I can guarantee you all have your back. Whether you got mine or not, I'm still here. Just like we here at the Mike and Mike at Night Show.
Period. And if you hear at nighttime,
if you hear at the right time.
Hey, we appreciate you guys for joining us tonight. We know we got in here kind of late, but for our night owls, we thank you for staying up with us tonight. Mm-hmm. Again, like we always say when we close the show out, if there's anything that you need to apologize for, or anyone that you need to forgive, please don't forget to do that, because life is short. I also want to send a special shout out to my family. We lost a very important angel on this side, and it hurts me. I haven't been able to sit down and take it all in. I wanted to make sure that I got the show done, and we're here for you guys. So, we want to be here for the people.
And we love you too, brother, and we're here for you also.
And I appreciate that. So there's to my family, my loved ones, there's love, support, and protect that's going to you all for Timothy Small. We appreciate you. We love you, man. We miss you. And thank you for all that you did and how you have contributed to our hearts and lives. Hey, you guys, the next time we get in here, we got some juicy stuff for y'all. And we were going to do it tonight, but we decided that we were going to wait until Saturday to give it to y'all. So I hope you guys make sure you got your popcorn and your peanuts, because we're going to have a good one. Not saying that every show isn't good, because I believe, personally, I enjoy every show that we do.
Absolutely.
And I learn so much. I had someone reach out to me, and Vanessa, I hope I don't I hope I don't throw you under the bus or put you out there, so please forgive me if I do. But, she reached out to me and asked me about a certain episode that we had did. And she said, have you guys ever done a show on this? And, she hadn't seen it or whatever. And I was able to go back and look at that show and give it to her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And she was like, I appreciate that. And I've had a few people. I had one gentleman the other day share one of our videos, and we were talking about what a real dime is. Oh. And he just randomly shared it to his page. I don't know who this guy is, but he put it on his page with the caption, "This is very interesting."
Okay, nice.
So I guess some of these conversations that we have do feed and spark some thought within our community. So we are achieving what it is that we have set out to do. We are a voice for the people, by the people, and we are supported by the people as well. We thank you guys for being here. You guys don't miss us on Saturday. Please don't forget to share and tag this video. Get into the comments and continue discussion if you guys want as well. I appreciate that as well. But check this out. Until Saturday, you guys have a good one. Remember, when you see your brother or you see your sister, to love, support, and protect them. You guys have a good one.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There is so much hatred, war and poverty. Wake up, all the teachers, time to teach a new way.